So I read a few pages today of one of my favorite books, Flow by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, a classic when it comes to flow state and what he calls the autotelic personality. The autotelic personality, as he defines it, is someone who performs activities because they are intrinsically rewarding. And while there may be an external goal associated with the activity, they find the activity so intrinsically rewarding that they do not worry about the external reward. And this is what I want to focus on today, as I believe that this idea will be very helpful for you. Now, I mentioned autotelic casually in Tuesday's video, and quite a lot over the years, but I don't believe I've ever explored the following passage with you in depth. He says, "The traits that mark an autotelic personality are most clearly revealed by people who seem to enjoy situations that others might find unbearable. Lost in Antarctica or confined to a prison cell, some individuals succeed in transforming their harrowing conditions into a manageable and even enjoyable struggle, whereas many others would succumb to the ordeal." Richard Logan, who has studied the accounts of many people in difficult situations, concludes that they survived by finding ways to turn the bleak objective conditions into subjectively controllable experience. They followed the blueprint of flow activities. First, they paid close attention to the most minute details of their environment, discovering in it hidden opportunities for action that matched what little they were capable of doing given the circumstances. Then they set goals appropriate to their precarious situation and closely monitored progress through the feedback they received. Whenever they reached their goal, they upped the ante, setting increasingly complex challenges for themselves. So I trust we can recall moments in our lives where we were able to find flow in situations where another might consider them unbearable. Certainly, I've had many growing up, and even if the situation is not considered unbearable, the practice of being autotelic anywhere we are is powerful when we combine it with our conversations of impressing visions upon the subconscious mind, leaving it up to the unseen power to some way, somehow bring into existence, beyond current reasoning of how it's going to happen. And so what is one to do in the meantime while the subconscious does everything for us, behind the scenes? I certainly would not recommend constantly worrying about how things are going to happen, excessively checking this or that for proof or validation, excessive comparisons, as such activities can encourage identification with certain undesirable subconscious beliefs that are probably not providing any benefit, but rather generating unnecessary suffering. So I consider it best then to lightheartedly focus on whatever current activity in a purposeful way. This has a number of powerful benefits, some of which include experiencing more joy in life, the ability to experience joy wherever you are. And depending on what you do, there could be additional benefits, physical, emotional, and mental, alongside, for example, if you're an entrepreneur, professional, or artist. The habit of remaining committed until the initiative has been completed translates to consistent progression and achievement. And also another benefit I thought I'd mention in relation to many who reach out to me about personal romantic relationships. And I will say that being autotelic facilitates desirable experiences in relationships, as the conscious aspect of mind is occupied with something worthwhile much of the time, thus forming the subconscious habit of being intrinsically motivated. And this is an experiential form of finding completion within. And you know I say this a lot. You are complete inside. you have everything already inside. And being autotelic is actually forming experiential completion within, which releases behaviors of pushiness, neediness, and clinginess in relationships as you always feel complete wherever you go, and thus when you are around others, in whatever shape or form. So when it comes to relationships, we're taught when working with the power of our subconscious mind to accept that what we desire in relationships is already ours and go on with our lives, and some way, somehow, it happens. From past experiences where I didn't value the autotelic way of being, it played out in a certain way where my energy was not, as a result, what I would consider to be ideal. There was this excessive trying, neediness, and desperation energy on dates, which played out as them not wanting to be with me. So even though there was this initial attraction, it would turn out this way because I went into a state where I believed that completion and fulfillment was found in the relationship rather than within. And then it played out accordingly. And I've experienced this both ways over the years. And what I found as a lasting solution is the autotelic way of being. That way, everything happens ideally, naturally, authentically, and automatically without pushiness, neediness, and clinginess, because you are complete and experientially feel it wherever you go. And so thus, although the autotelic way of being can be seen as a daily practice, we also see the results reflected in personal relationships, all relationships actually, that play out in an ideal way. So gone are the days of pushiness, neediness, and clinginess, which are effects spawned from the same cause of lack of acceptance, lack of completion within. They're gone when one commits to and lives as an autotelic. Now, autotelic being is experiential, mentally, emotionally, and physically. So let's look at how we can apply this in practice. 3 simple daily ways I found. Number 1, immerse yourself in whatever activity of your choice. Number 2, experience joy in whatever immediate experience, wherever you are. And number 3, be open to hidden opportunities for joy. So we can just go about doing whatever activity and go through the motions without intention, or through encouraging boredom, or with an intention that somewhere else is better than where we are now. To be autotelic, we go about the activities with the intention that the joy is here and now, and wherever you are, and whatever you experience, wherever you go, so that if I can experience it here, then I can experience it wherever I go. And this translates into being complete wherever you go, and with whoever you are with. You get to be how you really want to be without a smokescreen of neediness, pushiness, or clinginess, as there is nothing to need, push, or cling to because you experientially feel complete. You are your ideal now. So let's explore these 3. First, we have immerse yourself in whatever activity of your choice. So we have a task list or projects, and what I like to do is go in sequence and combine the entire sequence as an autotelic experience. For example, my morning routine. I wake up, read my statements of intent, which are autosuggestions. I usually have about 10 or 15 nuanced points related to my definite chief aim, which I read twice. And I've been doing this since 2004. And I change them once I have embodied those nuances to the desired degree. Then I go to the bathroom and I have an electric toothbrush. And I don't say, oh, I got to get this over with. I maintain presence and appreciate using it. This is one of the keys of being autotelic, It's experiencing joy where perhaps others might consider it not possible. Then I drink a tall glass of water, have a coffee, and then I head to the gym. 5 days a week, it's strength training, and some of the days may include cardio. And each rep is done with intention and joy. I genuinely want to be there, not just going through the motions. I also happen to get insights during the experience. These are the ones that I have been posting daily on my Instagram since 2019 February and never missed a day. Those are usually inspired during the workouts. So after the workout, I have a nice breakfast, I take a shower, get ready, and then a 20-minute meditation. So each of the parts that make up the morning routine, which I do Monday to Friday, is done as an autotelic practice. Then we have experience joy in whatever immediate experience, wherever you are. So for example, I'm in New York for a few days, and I was taking notes for this video on my flight, and I was doing it at the airport. It's actually one of my go-to autotelic activities, noting down insights to discuss in these videos. Sometimes when I'm in a lineup, I pull out my phone and take notes, and what will be considered just standing in line is now an autotelic opportunity. I remember when I was a teenager, I used to work in these warehouses, and they had these conveyor belt packaging systems, and I had to unfold boxes and tape them and place them aside for others to place goods in there for shipment. And time used to go by very slow, and it felt mind-numbing to just build these boxes repeatedly for many hours until I turned it into a game to see how many of them I could make in 10 minutes. And then I tried to beat my record. And this little activity game made the entire process actually quite fun. And the interesting thing of building a habit like this is it carried into other areas of my life where I had to do certain repetitive tasks. For example, in 2012, I ran a website hosting service as part of my IT business, and I had about 30 clients hosting their websites on there. And one day I saw that one of the websites was hacked. And just like that, they were all hacked. All the pages from my clients were then rerouted to some scam websites. And I remember this crippling fear coming over me. So I, for the next 2 days, had a whole bunch of repetitive tasks that I had to do to clean it all up, restore everything, patch everything, and a whole bunch of other things. And it was repetitive. But the intent I had in my mind was, if I can just do this all calmly, then I will be better equipped to deal with whatever chaos might show up in the future. And this is not the first time something like this has happened. In my 20s, the company I worked for had a massive security breach. It was announced publicly in around 2006 or 2007. Many millions of customer credit cards affected. A massive breach. Some of you might actually know about it. You could do a search for it and find out about it. And we had to work for a long time, morning till night, on repetitive tasks to patch everything up. And although it was an ordeal of an experience, we all worked together in an autotelic way. And it was actually one of the most memorable periods in my corporate career. It's amazing just how deep you can get into the flow if you intend to go about doing things in a flow-based way rather than just going through the motions without care. And as mentioned, this shapes you forever. And the changes are lasting and contribute to all areas of your life. And I trust you have also had many experiences like this, and I'd like to encourage it further. So last but not least, we have discover hidden opportunities for joy. So like the stories I shared in the second one, I see this as a fun challenge to remain all day long in an autotelic way of being. And it can be found just about anywhere. Turning activities into games, creating records and trying to beat them. And one of my favorite, I have this belief that if I keep my mind playfully focused on something for an extended period of time, I'll be able to accomplish anything. For example, I remember reading a while back this book called How to Be Your Own Best Friend. One of the recommendations in the book was to enjoy more time with yourself. So I remember I was in California on a consulting deal in 2018. And I would always want to be out on Friday and Saturday for whatever the reason. I didn't like to be alone on those days. going back to my teenage years. And I said, what if I just go sit in a parking lot by myself in my car, rental at the time, and just stay there for hours on a Friday or Saturday evening and bring myself to the point where I feel it's the best time ever. And the first few times I did it, I thought it was awkward. However, then it felt normal, and then it actually became enjoyable to the point where I was finding that I wanted genuinely to do it more often. And what's fascinating about this, talk about completion within, is if anyone now says, let's hang out on Friday or Saturday, it's never from a place of neediness, clinginess, or pushiness. Because I genuinely have a great time by myself. And at times I prefer being by myself on a Friday or Saturday. So we see the power here then of being autotelic, not only for the quality of your life, in all that you do, also how you are when you're around others and everywhere you go, experientially complete inside, and able to experience joy wherever you are. This way, if others are around you, and even as, for example, as a result of this channel, I receive a lot of praise and support wherever I go, I feel joy with or without the praise and acknowledgement. It's unconditional. All from applying what we discussed here today. So this is powerful, and I would like the same for you. To acknowledge that everywhere you go, everywhere you are, that's where the magic is. So I trust you found this video to be helpful. Let's go ahead and conclude this with an auto-suggestion to further encourage. You can say, everywhere I am is an opportunity for accepting that I have everything. And this joyful autotelic state transfers to all areas of my life, experienced as peace, calm, flow, bliss, and ease wherever I go, as everything else is done for me behind the scenes to realize my vision in unknown ways by the unseen hand. If you would like a copy of this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk with you soon. Take care.